up, friends? This is Jazz, finally bringing you another Jazz Reviews, cartoons, or anime. This is number 12, I believe, and it is going to be Family Guy, Season 8, Episode 1, Road to the Multiverse. I figured my first time back I would do a fun review of a show, an episode of Family Guy that is kind of well known and a better quality than most later seasons. I'm just getting back on the wagon of doing these reviews, so please bear with me. It was a while since I did one, and this episode particularly didn't have too much of note in a negative way. I found pretty much all of it pleasant, right? So this might not be as off top as it usually is, so it's more of a narration of it a little bit, and I will put my comments on it later. Pretty much the episode is about Brian and Stewie skipping to different universes. Like, it starts after Stewie wins a state fair for his multi-bred pig, which he didn't breed himself, he got from another universe, and it's a pig with huge muscles, and it's monstrous. Literally, Brian, is flabbergasted about it. So are everyone who probably seen it. Well, Brian probably has the biggest reaction, because Family Guy's Family Guy. They do those things, right? So he asks where he got it, and then he shows him a control that could take him to multiple universes. So he asks if he wants to see where he got it. They go to that universe where, because Christianity wasn't a big belief and they believed in science more, the science process wasn't halted. So in that universe, they're 1,000 years advanced, right? But one thing Stewie fails to tell, well, he does tell Brian, but one thing that they both fail to do, Brian fails to realize, it's hard to explain it. He puts too much faith in Stewie at that moment. Stewie even says that he hasn't really used it or worked with it in other universes. This was the only universe he's gone to, so he wasn't too good at the control yet and going to other places. And Brian still says, sure, let's go traveling a bit. Bad mistake, Brian. Anyway, before I go on to the other universes they go on to, they see some weird things, like Meg looking decent, except for her face. Like she's still the ugly one in the universe, but she looks, a lot better, right? She's, tall, and she has, boobs, and everything like that. She looks like a better version of the self she is. And they go to a museum, not a museum, but a church area, where it shows that, I think, what is it? Not Michelangelo, I don't know I forget who it was, I might put it if I find it. He didn't have any inspiration because of the science being more advanced, and he did a lot of things based on Christianity, so they just go see all those things, and this is only in their first universe. After that, it gets a little jumpy, obviously. There's only 3 universes that they stay any period of time in. And I'll go to the other ones. This is one of them. I think this is where the second place they stay the longest in. So they hop to different areas. They hop to... There was others. Jeez. They go to, they're stuck in an ice age, and Stewie has to get Brian excited for his tail will wag and fall them out enough to get to the control. That's, I think, the third universe they go to. There's one where everyone is Japanese. I think something doesn't go. They fail to do something, the Americans, and then so the Japanese take over, and it's just pretty much Family Guy characters as Japanese characters. Same personalities for the most part, except for highly stereotyped. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. There was another trying to think. There was a few others, I know. I remember most of the later ones, but it's just the first few getting started that I don't quite remember. But anyway, I'll just go to one of my favorites, the Disney universe. Who doesn't remember and love that song, It's a Wonderful Day for Pie?
It's a wonderful day for pie.
The choreography, that is brilliant. The song is, like, pretty catchy, too, and it's good, too. But I think they won awards for the choreography. They didn't win anything for the music, but it was still, like, a really good number and really funny. How, like, at first, how they said, oh, there's nothing wrong with this universe, and then they kill off the Jewish character. I mean, it even shows his body just before they go back, before they leave. After that, they hop into a Robot Chicken universe for, like, 10 seconds. Oh, but to backtrack, that Disney universe is one of the 3 universes they stay for a period of time. Although that wasn't as long as the Advanced universe or the last one I'm going to talk about. They stop in the Robot Chicken universe. They stop in a universe where it's badly, like, designed, like their shapes and they're pixely and everything, and then the wording, it's terrible quality. But that's supposed to be the joke, right? They stop. Oh, I remember what the other universe is. One of the second universe they stop into is that everyone has 2 heads. One is happy, one is that was clever. It even showed the 2 Stewie heads making out with each other, which was sort of disturbing. But I mean, what else would you do with? Okay, I know. That might as well be making out with your brother. But I mean, that was funny, because especially when they talked, one was so exciting, one was, oh, what is life? Type of Eeyore sad. I mean, like, Eeyore depressed. So I got that out of the way, but I did remember them. After they do that pixelated one, they go into a world where there's one guy who compliments you. Then they stop into a world where they think they're back home, but it's just a painted background, and that, like, of their house and whatever. And it's to give them, like, to make them feel bad, right? Or lost disappointment, I don't know. And then there's another, in the same universe, it's that compliment guy, but he's on a portrait as well. And then, one of the freakiest parts of this episode, though, and it's not that I have a gripe with it, it's creepy, though. They go into a universe where they look physically like in our world. Stewie is a physical human baby, and Brian is a human dog. Or, our world dog. Not a cartoon. And Stewie's like, I hate this. Yeah, me too. And, there were 2 more before that. There was one where they were surrounded by fire hydrants, and Brian's like, love it. Stewie's like, hate it. Pushes the button, and they go into the world a bunch of men, with Stewie obviously coming out of the closet. I think by this point he has come out of the closet. He's like, love it. Brian's like, hate it. And then they end up being like the real life baby and human, or baby and dog. And that's like, he said, that's creepy. Let's push the button. But the final universe is where they last the longest before they go back to their own. And it's in a world where the world is run by and humans are like pets, like dogs. And Stewie was figuring out how to fix it. Brian saw that the world was run by dogs, didn't want to leave the world, so he ends up breaking the device. And it's so funny, like, Stewie gets to be the butt of the joke in this universe, because he has to be put on a leash, and he's literally treated like a dog. And that was the joke, because Brian was the human-esque figure in that world. And a lot of things go wrong for Stewie, pretty much, in this world. He gets named Gabe after he wanted to be named something like Axel or something with an X after him. I forget what the name was, but it's a unique name. It's not just a name everyone would know that Stewie wanted to be called first. And then he said, I changed my mind. So after that, Brian says, I'm Blake, and this is Gabe. And he's like, "Aww." And it turns out that the dog version of Stewie is just as intelligent as this Stewie, and he has traveled multiverses too. So after they talk for a while, he goes in with the other Stewie and saying, "So, I know you are Stewie," and all that. And then what turns out, what Stewie did wrong was he kept pushing the shuffle button. And he did not know what that is one. If there was any gripes, now that I think about it, that would be it. But it's not like a ruiner for me. In that one little scene, it made Stewie look like an idiot. Stewie is supposed to be a genius. Knows, when someone's talking to him, he knows what they mean for the most part. In this particular moment, it made Stewie seem so stupid not knowing what those arrows were and that it was a shuffle button. But I guess Dog Stewie went through the same scenario with his Brian, he looks human, by the way. A human version of Brian. So he knows from experience what it was. But you would think that he's seen other controls before, like on a TV or whatever, that he would know what a shuffle button is. That's the only thing I have wrong with this episode, really. I mean, the whole human baby thing real baby thing was sort of creepy. I mean, the dog was really cute, but the baby literally looked creepy for a baby. I know babies are supposed to be cute, but that one just looked off, to me. It looked like something from a horror movie. I know Corey said that is someone's real child, I know. But maybe the way they put makeup on him or whatever, but he was just kind of creepy. But besides that, things go wrong when Dog Stewie goes to get his own control to return him and Brian, the other Brian, back to that world. There ends up being a scenario where the dog version of Joe Swanson goes in, and Peter ends up poking Stewie a lot to the point where he yelled at him and bit his finger, which in this world, if a human bites a dog, they're euthanized. I mean, if he bites it at all. I mean, the thing is, I can understand, okay, I mean, I know those animal lovers, I apologize. The animals don't know better and everything, so, and it's not always the animal's fault, but I can understand in a way that if a dog bites a human, and when I say bites, I mean bites to break the skin, guys. If it's a nip, no, I wouldn't understand a euthanization just for a harmless bite or a warning nip. I would protest if humans were that cruel to that point. But a dog's teeth can break the skin, well, I suppose humans could too. And I don't know how hard Stewie bit down, but it didn't look like he bit down too hard, just one bite. And it didn't look like any skin was broken on dog Peter. But I could see, dogs were more likely to break the skin of a human, so I could see why they would be put down or euthanized for that. But a human, with the roles reversed, it made no sense. But he ends up being put away into the police car and dragged off, where the dog, Stewie, the human Brian, and the other Brian go to rescue him. And the funny thing is, just before that, the human Brian goes, "Oh, you mean they're like this, like this, like this?" Yeah, they were bringing up how they were lost in multiple universes as well. So that was what the reference I put back, because only Dog Stewie knew that they weren't who they were until he told human Brian. Speaking of human Brian, there's going to be a part coming up for him later. When they finally go and rescue Stewie, the human Brian confesses he wants to go back to their world with them. Because imagine, a world where humans are free, right? And so at first they protest, and the other Dog Stewie opens up the portal. The Dog Joe fights with the human Brian. He ends up going through last minute to the portal. And so they finally get back home. They finally realize they're back home after realizing Peter farting in Meg's face when she asked for something. Said, oh yes, that's our universe, right, and everything, because it was their universe. And then they asked what's going to happen with human Brian. He says, oh, I'll probably go travel. I'm not going to stick around here. And another thing I find, like, this is just Family Guy logic, though. That's just the way it works. But when the human Brian leaves the house and Stewie's going on about a world is open to him, the world is new, he gets hit by a car. Or human Brian does. So in other words, nope, he's not going anywhere. I mean, it's funny, like, are there, in their universe, are cars, like, yeah, cars are a thing. I saw a dog ride a car. Oh, is that the joke? That humans can be just as stupid as dogs? In that world? Like, they don't look where they're going? I don't understand, because this Brian, just like how in their universe, Brian is smart for a dog and the humans understand him and they treat him more like a human than they would treat another dog. But so you think that this Brian would be different in some ways and learn human etiquette, or learn dog human etiquette, and know how to look out for cars. But human Brian was just hit. I mean, off screen, thank God, right? But it just showed the car hit him, and he's, oh God, he was hit by a car. And then it just ended with that. So, in other words, Brian didn't get to live his dream of living in the human world, where humans are free. But anyway, this episode was, to me, not bad for a later Family Guy episode. I haven't watched many, I'll confess. Like, I'm not the type to sit down and watch seasons one after another, in a row. But I have seen Family Guy, and I've seen reviews on bad episodes, and I don't think anyone has complained, really, about this episode. This was one of the gems. Not that it's perfect. I mean, but for how Family Guy has been going lately, this is a gem. When I say a gem, I mean a good one in the rough. And as I said, I would watch this again. I might actually watch it again and save that episode. I mean, it was out in the spirit. There were some parts in it where I got a little confused with Stewie's talking, but he's really intelligent, and that is probably normal for him. I just have to learn to keep up with it. That's nothing on the writer's fault, but after rewatching a few scenes, sometimes I would understand and get what he meant. So, anyway, if you enjoyed this first review back after a while, give it a big thumbs up. I plan to try to do some more. Maybe I'll have more this month and next month to make up for the 4 or 5 months I missed. But this is the first one anyway, so if you enjoyed it, give it a big thumbs up. And if you're new to this channel, please subscribe. It would help this channel a lot. And don't forget to hit the bell notification so you know when new videos are coming out. And I will see you guys in my next video.